We have covered several stories of violence, including young people. A 15-year-old shot and injured, a 16-year-old shot and killed at Piedmont Park over the weekend, and then overnight, a 19-year-old shot and killed at a gas station. Want to bring in now a live interview with Jack Logan, who is the founder of an organization called Put Down the Guns Now, Young People. Jack, thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you all for contacting me. It's my
Yeah.
pleasure to
Yeah.
talk about gun violence.
Yeah, yeah. Yours is one of those organizations that I'm glad exists because it's needed, but I hate that it exists at the same time because I hate that this is happening. Tell me, how this organization came to be and kind of your mission. Give me some background on that.
Okay, well, back in 2010, we began a nonprofit, Put Down the Guns Now Young People organization behind two teenagers in Spartanburg, South Carolina, Joshua Jeter and Lance Lyles, who had played hooky from Spartanburg High School to go out and buy some marijuana. At that time, marijuana for young people and illegally was $5 a bag. And so when they bought that marijuana, they went maybe 200 feet and they were smelling it and they realized the drug dealer had flexed them, sold them bad marijuana. So the two teens turned back up to this place where they bought it from, and there was a confrontation. And one of those teens had a gun, and they got during the altercation, the drug dealer shut the door upon the gun, and a bullet hit an innocent
Mm,
student attending Spartanburg Methodist School College. Those two teens was convicted in Spartanburg County and sentenced to life in prison. And a friend of mine, Alex Paul, who was dating one of the mothers of one of the teens, and he asked me to start educating kids about gun violence. And I prayed about it and prayed about it. Matter of fact, let me go back. In 2009, we began in 2010. Ellis was killed on March 26th of 2009, and he had asked me about that on March 22nd of 2010. I waited for God to choose me to do what he's to go out and begin a nonprofit to begin educating children and teens not to pick up guns, not to point guns, and things like that. And that's where we're at today.
yeah. I think one of the big questions is how are these young people even getting guns? Can you talk about that? And I know you guys have given out gun locks. Talk to me about why that's important.
Well, I was going to go right to that. Gun locks is the key, and I say to not only to the parents, to every adult, whether you have a gun legally or whether you have a gun illegally, it's your job is to prevent children and teens from getting their hands on guns. And what I mean by that, when you're not in the possession of your own gun, you should have your gun with a gun lock on it or in a safety box so that if your house is broken into or your vehicle or your place where you work at, because what could happen to a gun being unlocked and not safe when the gun owner don't have it, that child, that teenager, or anyone else could take your gun and take your life. But my message to every child and every teenager: prison doors stand open 24/7,
Mm-hmm.
and no child wants to go to prison. When you go to prison, that hurts yourself, your mother, your father, and you'll wake up and say, I done something dumb when you're 30 or 40 years old. You sit in the Department of Corrections for the rest of your life, or for 30 years, depending on Georgia state law in Georgia, about trying kids as an adult. I don't want to see no child go to prison. It hurts. And I don't want to see no mother going to a mortuary to look down on her son or daughter, or going to any hospital to visit their son or daughter. And my message to teenagers: think about becoming that journalist, that doctor, that lawyer. Find someone that can be that role model for you. It could be somebody from Channel Live, Channel 11, a prosecutor, a defense attorney. If you want to become a manager in McDonald's and go move up, make something out of your life instead of going to prison, causing pain to yourself or causing pain to your parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've got chills just hearing those words from you, so passionate. And I think you touch on an important point that I'd love for you to elaborate more on. But what can we, as not only parents, but as community members, do to help prevent this? Is it, mentoring? Is it, getting our kids involved in extracurriculars? What advice do you have?
Well, sometimes it don't take money, ma'am. It can take though, and I'm a black male, and I want to say this to people in the community. It don't take but one person to help one person, one adult to help some of these young people. You see people going to church, you see people going to work, they see these young people, they don't speak, and those people felt no one care. Just that smiling face. I said, come on, little man. You want to go see the Gamecocks? Or do you want to go see Georgia Bulldogs? Or do you want to go to a college football or basketball or baseball? Change that mentality that somebody care. Because once Jack Logan, as I can sit here proudly and say, I met a state senator and I met a lot of politicians back when I felt I had no one, and those people picked me up. And now I can say I realize that's all people need is someone to pick them up. But when I see money being misused by our elected officials on something else, but in the state of Georgia is a big state. There's places for teens to go. But at the same time, they need that mentor from someone, even from the media or from politicians or from some church member or from wherever to say, come on, Susie, or come on, Jack, you want to go with me to a ball game, or let's go walking through the park, or just someone to talk to. Because when I see this, people getting shot at gas stations and all that kind of thing, that bothers me. And knowing that teenagers have guns in their possessions, but I would say to every man and every woman who lay down to have a child, I'm not going to just point the finger at the community, and I speak harsh words to every father. When my dad laid down with my mom, me not knowing anything about it, he knew he had a job to do, and he raised us. He was there. And I say to every boy, to every young man who laid down to impregnate a woman, it takes a real man to be that father for that child. And if you don't have any intention on, because anything can happen doing when you're laying down having sex, you should think, am I ready to be that father? Before you carry out that act of sex. Because if you do, you have a duty to help raise that child, not just paying child support. I mean spending quality time with that child. I meet so many young boys tell me, I don't know who my daddy is, and that hurt. And
Yeah.
then they find themselves in a local detention center for murder with a gun or shooting someone with a gun. And that hurt because no one there was there to tell them right from wrong. I say to every father, get your son in the car. Georgia's a big state. There's plenty of ponds, plenty of lake. Take them fishing. Or just get your son in the car and just ride. If you don't have a car, you don't have a driver license, just go walking with your son.
Hmm.
Let them know that you care. And I say to every church member and every other leader, I don't care if you're the chief of police or you're the DA, take time to reach out to help these children away from the courtroom, away from the police department, and let that child know that somebody care. And
Hmm.
that's the problem across America.
Yeah. Wow, Jack, really powerful words. I think you're so right. It really does take all of us. We have to run now, but thank you so much for joining us. These were great words, and you really, I think, spoke to a lot of people watching, and we appreciate you joining us.
And thank y'all so much.